top 8 tracks for Mario Kart 8. Number 8.
Cool, so this is Baby Park.
So, no, right at the top. I was really hoping this would be a bit closer to the top here. I really do like Baby Park.
At the end of the day, it's a really simple track, though, isn't it? Like, don't get me wrong, it's a great track, but it's just simple. So
it is very simple, and I think it's in its simplicity is where it really shines. I have turned a corner on Baby Park, no pun intended. No, really, no pun intended. I used to
Well,
not
there's no
enjoy
corners on it, so it's round.
Well, there is. I used to,
it's one constant corner.
It's two corners.
Yeah.
When I had this on GameCube, I didn't enjoy it as much. And I must say, the new mechanic imposed in Mario Kart 8 with the anti-grab and the fact that it is on a slant the entire time has breathed new life into it for me.
It's a great track.
It's almost like a roller rink or something, you know?
Yeah, my first experience was on the DS version, back when there was only 5 laps. So, and it's the only type in the game that has more than 3 laps, other than the single race ones.
Yeah.
So I like it for that gimmick alone. One of my favourite tracks. I really just enjoy the speed boost you can get by just really getting up a good drift around both of those corners.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I definitely deserve the spot in the 8, and I think 8 is probably the right spot for it.
Again, what makes it good and what makes it Baby Park is what's kind of that simplicity. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 7.
Right, so we're at Rainbow Road SNES.
This is
number 7.
my least favourite. I tried so hard to fight against
it's
this.
Definitely,
I gave it
my favourite Rainbow Road. I think we all gave it 3s and you gave it a 1.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with how good you are at the levels, and I just seem to be really good at this level, so that's why I rate it really highly.
It's the easiest of the Rainbow Roads, I think.
Yeah, I
think too.
Chris, I also deem myself to be pretty good at this level, and I love the update in terms of the colour scheme and how beautiful it actually
it
looks.
feels so glassy, you're like driving on glass.
It's a good looking level. I definitely do appreciate it.
This is probably the SNES tracks are one of my most improved tracks. I think like all the SNES tracks have really improved from their first iteration on SNES.
Well, you'd hope so.
But improved way more than the game.
Yeah, not just graphics.
Because they really looked at it and went back to the drawing board on something.
Because they had to, But no, it's a really, really beautiful level.
It reminds me
quite
a lot
simple.
of Tetris. Just all the blocks.
Yeah, there is a Tetris vibe happening right now.
Yeah. I love Tetris too, so that also really helps.
Really glad that isn't play.
I think I really like cornering and all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
it's got a Banshee Boardwalk vibe, with the fact that you can just fall off at any time. Really,
I get that.
No safety.
Yeah, but what I think it has over Banshee Boardwalk is I find Banshee Boardwalk to be quite unfair level at times.
Absolutely.
Well, and with the inclusion of bats, it seems to be a hazard that is not conducive to, I think, a fairer thing of Mario Kart, whereas the swamps the timing is so sort of exact that it's really hard to mess that up.
Well, I'm glad it's a good spot there. I would have been very upset if it made it any further up, but you guys are very keen on that.
You're outvoted, mate.
That's the game.
Number 6.
The 6th track is Big Blue from the F-Zero franchise.
This is actually my favourite.
Really?
Yeah, and I wanted this to be so much higher, and I fought hard for it, but yeah.
So this is your favourite track in the whole Mario Kart?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I get
great.
it. I understand it, to be quite honest with you. It's ranked up pretty high for me. I kind of prefer Mute City as the other F-Zero track, but both F-Zero tracks really do bring it. And the best thing about this track, I think, is the overwhelming sense of speed, but done not in a maybe F-Zero way, but in a Mario Kart way.
Yeah, I like the music as well.
Yeah.
It's anything that's the F-Zero track is good. Like, it's such a jazzy soundtrack. This on 200cc though, this was one of the ones I really struggled with. This in Cooper City, like just the speed you're going at 200cc, and there's so many turns, and there's no rails on a lot of these turns, so that makes it very hard. I would call this an advanced track.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. It's one of the hardest tracks.
I remember the first time I saw it, and it just hit me like, how pretty is this stage?
Yeah.
Like, this stage showcases so well with graphics.
Yeah, even though we are playing on 150cc, I think we were for this recording, but 200 is just crazy.
Number 5.
Alright, so this is one of my favourites. I would have loved to see this higher up, but again, that's the breaks you takes when you do this vote style. I really like this track. This is one of my favourite to play online. I guess again, what you're saying, Chris, it really depends on what you're good at.
Yeah.
And I believe I'm quite good at this, so I can manage to chain my my drifts really well.
Yeah.
It's almost the Mario Kart, like the Mario Kart 8 track that is like the bread and butter, you know? So it's like the first one that most people play.
It was the first one most people saw.
Yeah.
And it was revealed.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I really do like the anti-gravity side of this track.
I do too. I mean, it's not one of my favourite tracks, and I probably wouldn't place it in my top 8 personally, because in contrast to Cameron, I'm not very good at this track. I think I'm quite average at it, and I think with the end bit with all the Goombas is I've had a lot of unfortunate things
Fallen
happen
for that
there.
trap a few times.
Not necessarily
The Goomba
Goombas, but I've
stack.
had a lot of unfortunate things happen and missed out on first with this track. So again, I'm probably projecting a lot of bad memories, but yeah, not one of my favourites. But it's not an awful track. It's not necessarily a stellar track.
Design-wise, there's not much going on in the background. It's all
It's very
the
plain,
actual
isn't it?
track.
Yeah.
I mean, it is meant to be this sort of floating island sort of thing. And something that you don't really notice, well, I didn't notice when I was playing it, is that it is a figure of 8.
Yeah, it's a figure
And
eight, but
flips.
it's inverted, I guess.
Yeah. It's a really,
Really cool
interesting
design.
track. I love the piranha plant. I like to live dangerously and drift as close to that as possible. And that's really fun.
I do think it's got a lot of really cool stuff in it, but I just think that, like, in general, the artwork side of it is just very plain. Well, I know that's the whole reason that
This is one of those function over fashion.
Oh, I disagree. I gotta think it's like a watercolor sort of painting vibe to it. Like it's very, very pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't
I've
disagree.
seen sort of pretty interpretations of this theme in Mario Kart games, though. It's more on the blander end. It's like more on the end of a Moo sort of track. I mean,
Yeah,
even though it's not necessarily dirt track, it's more on that kind of end design-wise. Then I kind of prefer the futuristic kind of Mario tracks that really like a more sensory overload in a lot of ways.
Sure, yeah.
Number 4.
Okay, so next up we've got Mount Wario. I know we're probably always going to say this, but one of my favourites.
No,
Interesting that the top 8 has a lot of our favourites.
Yeah, but it's such a contrast, right, compared to I think other top 8s we've done where every one of us has been able to kind of sneak in our own personal favourite
Yeah.
and not maybe had everyone talk the highest praise. It does seem like we're more on the same page with these Mario Kart tracks.
Well, this is the first sprint. I call it a sprint because it reminds me of the old ones from Need for Speed Underground, where it's a one-way track, so you're not lapping, you're just doing a one-way
Oh,
race.
Big Blue's also this.
Yeah, but this was the first one. So Big Blue
Yeah.
came in obviously with the DLC afterwards.
Right.
Another one of these ones where I really enjoy the run. It's actually a fun thing to do because you're chaining all the jumps. You're trying to keep your paraglider for as long as you can in the middle. You've got the trees to avoid that you can combo in with a bunch of power slides. Very fun. One of the
Snowboard
maps,
Kids S.
Yeah.
One of the maps that is a bit more involved in terms of strategy. There's multiple pathways
Yes.
along the whole way. Lots of speed.
I really like to see that type of thing in the top down.
Yeah.
So the top to bottom
Yeah.
type thing. Cause it's
And what I also enjoy about the top to bottom thing, and I think maybe why we're more inclined to include some of these sprint-esque tracks, sprint-esque tracks.
Get it out.
I'm saying that 5 times, get it out. Is that there is more track to see, and you aren't experiencing the same thing maybe 3 times over.
Yes.
So I mean that's when everything is so interesting and there's so many different things. That's why Mount Wario is probably one of my top 3 tracks.
I guess the downside of that, Adam, is that we only get to see that portion once of the track.
Yeah, it just makes you want to play it.
That's true. You can't have too much of a good thing.
I think it's the difference with this one as opposed to the Rainbow Road one. It's a good length. It's not too long.
And it's also
not too
quite
short.
fair as opposed to the Rainbow Road. So, you can tell like Rainbow Road doesn't end up on this list because it's, quite unfair and difficult in the way that it deals that mechanic out. Whereas I think in Mount Wario, everything you do is fairer.
Number 3.
Alright, so coming up we've got Electrodrome. Speaking of sensory overload, this is...
I
This
feel like
is
I'm at a rave.
There is
Oh,
a lot
great.
happening here.
a lot happening, and I love every bit of it. I think it's a
The
great
pink and
track.
green should never be seen.
But it looks so good together, though. What I like is the mirrored track here.
Yes.
So you can.
You take one side or the other,
Yeah.
and that means that your enemies will be on that other side, and you can still kind of see them and suss them out.
I personally take the pink road.
I take pink, yeah.
But I know something.
I mix it up. It kind of depends on the strategy.
It depends on the day for me.
And I think you want to like a little bit of advice, and maybe you just want to be around people so that you can fire weapons at them.
Sure.
Sometimes if you're in back,
you want to avoid them, you know.
yeah, exactly. Or you want to avoid them. So I think it's all about positioning. And if you're behind, then you're more likely to pick the same track as someone else.
It's a very un-Mario Kart track.
It is,
when you think about it. It's
Yeah.
like it's very sort of music based and kind of nightclub.
I tend to put this together with Melody Highway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they are very music driven, like as you drive over bits it actually plays. So you've got the bit towards the end of it where you're coming up onto a ramp and you've got 5 or so pads that as you hit them they go dun, dun,
Oh, it's like
dun,
keyboard,
dun.
this thing.
So I really like that. It's definitely got a disco vibe. Even the piranha plants are having a good time with this one.
And they're a different colour as well.
It's a
like
big
they're
party
even
for
white.
everybody.
Yeah.
It's about the closest I get to a nightclub these days.
Just everything about it is quite enjoyable. Definitely a must play.
It can be unforgiving with that big jump. Like, say you get hit by a shell and that big jump can just ruin you completely. So it can be quite ruthless in that sense as well.
Number 2.
So everyone's favourite. Well, not quite favourite. This is one that people tend to really always mention, but when you compare it to other levels, it's not quite the best. But this was our first taste of F-Zero in the Mario Kart game. This really, to me, was the first sign that we weren't ever going to see F-Zero again on the console.
Yeah.
In this generation, at least.
I think it was one of those things where when I first heard about this DLC, we were like, it could go so wrong and it could be so inappropriate for the Mario Kart franchise.
Yeah,
It
it's
handled it perfectly though. It works really well.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even how the boost pads make you get coins.
Yeah.
Like, that's, I think, such a
the energy pads?
interpretation, of the F-Zero mechanic into the already existing mechanic incorporated in Mario Kart 8.
It's just a beautiful background. You got planets and sky in one part of it. Then you look out, you got this huge city, really well designed, and there's a lot of detail here that you just don't get to see though because you're going so fast.
I know, it's just one of those levels that you see and just, wow, you could just get an F-Zero game. It would look so good and it'd be so cool.
I think they were testing the waters a bit with that. I think this is, my hope is that this DLC has sold quite well, so maybe that means we could see an F-Zero game in the future, possibly on NX. You never know.
We'll get into that another time.
Yeah.
Number 1.
So the big one, number 1. I think this was the only one we managed to vote unanimously on.
Yes,
Yeah.
got a perfect score from all of the judges.
So we did a 3-2-1 vote.
Yeah.
Yep. So this got 3s across the board.
This actually
and,
got 4s because this was an outright winner from the first round of voting. With the very elaborate voting system.
Oh, we had to do it again.
Red
Okay,
Knight,
yeah. So this got
So this-
extra points.
Yeah, so this managed to go through right away, and look, I think if you look on most people's consoles under favorite track, I'm sure this will have a big appearance factor over there.
It's just such an open track. There's a lot of really cool big stuff going on in the background. You know,
Very summary track.
yeah, they
very
do.
light
It does
colours.
anti-grav really well.
It's at an airport, and the thing about it being at an airport is it just covers so much ground at an airport.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're at a baggage claim, you're at the runway,
You're in planes at some point.
you're near planes at some point,
And
you're
that's-
in a plane at some
It's
point.
got another one of those things that I mentioned, that just at the end you've got the little conveyor belt that if you have enough speed or a booster you can jump over it. Sometimes you can even manage to get through one of the boxes and get yourself a red mushroom to get that little boost at the end. So I really like this track because strategically there's so much you can do other than just sticking to the usual center line. You've got all these off bits, you can go under planes. Great, really.
I think this is also another one that we first saw in the first trailers for the game. And
It
stuff.
was.
And what a great track to
And it
showcase.
actually it holds up, So it's like it's really really cool.
And I remember at the time being pretty excited by it as well. So yeah, I mean, just as like, I think it's a great track. It's a must for any sort of Mario Kart enthusiast to get around.
Dishonourable Mention.
Okay, so
The
here we
dishonourable
go.
mention.
Yeah, the dishonourable mention. This isn't a mistake. Bit of a treat for you guys. It's got flat zeros across the board.
We all hate this stage.
I need to back myself up for a second here because I did vote this 0. But I think I went with the peer pressure of the group because I actually don't mind this track now. I hated it before, but I've played it a lot recently, and I've learned to appreciate it.
No.
Appreciate
Terrible
what?
overall.
I want to be on record as saying it's a bad track and it is in my bottom 3, but it is not the worst track in the game. Personally, I think that belongs to Toad's Turnpike, but this is still a pretty bad track.
Yeah, you fought pretty hard for Toads, but
some of you like it.
The only saving grace for this track is its music, and that holds up across the board, across the game, I feel. But I find this track to be unfair.
it is. You have
with
to
the
be
destructible leveling. And what I also maybe think is a knock against it is, like, I don't think the fire aesthetic is necessarily a bad aesthetic or theme to go with, but the problem is because it's a volcano, it's not really interesting. Like, it's all brown. It's not really anything
Very dry.
new or exciting.
Yeah, it's not like molten lava like Bowser's Castle.
Yeah, Bowser's Castle does lava well.
Or like even when you go in the volcano, it's just all brown and there's not like a hidden area where it's a different colour.
It's certainly not the prettiest level.
Coming from the Wii.
It's an interesting concept. I do like the idea of a level that changes each time, but it's just the execution of it is not quite there. I think this could have been improved on a bit. And you gotta hate the little flame bugs at the end there. What are they called?
I don't know.
Flamers, probably. They will put an end to it.
Say no to flamers.
This is one of those ones where when you're trying to pass the cups, you've won first place in every race. You get to this and you just get the the last lap cluster bomb, and you just get destroyed. So I think that's why
We all have some bad memories
Yes,
of it.
yes.
I'm not particularly bad at this track, but it's not. I don't know. It's not one I want.
I'm pretty bad.
You're pretty bad at it? Okay.
I know a lot of good players that can sometimes just get stuck like around the track on the environment, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me, I must say.
I think a lot of my bad memories came from the Wii version though, so maybe I'm just holding a grudge.
it is an improvement.
And that's what I want to say is that, like, even the worst track on this game is still pretty good by current standards.
Regular
there are no
game standards.
tracks when I'm like, except for its Turnpike Road, actively I'm like,
We had to fight him hard to save Toad's Turnpike.
yes, you did. But yeah, Grumble Volcano, Red Coins, Dishonourable Mention.
So that's the top 8. If there's anything you agree with or disagree with, feel free to comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and tell your friends. That was Mario Kart.
Yep. Hit us up on Facebook.
Let us know what other top 8s you guys want to see.